Welcome to my channel, Heidi Sonboul DIY. In today's episode, I've got a couple different things I'm going to be featuring. Some thrift flips, Dollar Tree DIYs, and a couple things that I'm gonna share how to make out of random items to make beautiful home decor on a budget. Now let's get crafting. I found this darling box at my local thrift store and I knew that I could give it an update. I loved the metal detail and also this little scallop bottom part. I thought that this would be so pretty updated with a beautiful blue color. I'm using this Slate blue color by RUST-OLEUM. I love this color. Sometimes when you buy spray paint, it can be a little bit weird and you might not have the color turn out how you want it to, but this color worked perfectly for this box and what I was going for. So I made sure before I spray painted it, I took off all the screws, the hinges, and the little lock at the front. And then once it was spray painted twice, 2 coats of that spray paint, I went ahead and screwed all of that metal detail back on to make sure it completed that look. Once that was done, I got my brush so I could dry brush on a little bit of brown paint. I go on heavy at first and then I come back in with my paper towel and then I dry off any spots where I have too much. I wanted it to have a distressed look without it taking away the color, lightly distressed. That really is my style here on my channel. I like things lightly distressed so you still get that farmhouse look, that country French look without it being too over the top. And then I'm also adding on a little bit of black detailing around some of the sides because I thought that that would be a nice accent to help it look a little more aged. Once it was all done, I was so excited with the look, and to purchase a box like this can be so expensive, and all I did was purchase one that was $1.50 from the thrift store. Today is the DIY challenge that I host here on my channel, where you can get to know other crafters who might be small, newer channels that are hard to find and be seen. I create a playlist which will be linked down below in my description box. If you go down there, you'll be able to go and check out all of these other creators who are crafters as well. And the theme of this month is fall. I want to thank all of those creators who participated in that playlist. It means so much that you've joined me this month. For those interested in joining next month's challenge, it is on October 1st. I'm going to put some information right here on the screen where you can get to know all of the things you will need to do to join if you are a creator here on YouTube. The theme is Thanksgiving or Halloween. I've seen a lot of friends DIYing these boxes, and when I was at the thrift store the other day, I actually came across one. I could not believe it. Now I got this half off on their half off day. I was so excited. So I went ahead and just took out all of the pre-existing outdated ivy, all this foam that was down in here, and then as well all of this Spanish moss. This stuff, I love using it in DIYs personally. Man, it makes the biggest mess. And I am kind of a neat freak when it comes to my crafting space. I like my table to be clean. I don't like things all over it, so you saw me there wiping everything down. Now before I took it outside to spray paint it this London gray, I ended up making sure that I dusted it all off as well because I wanted to make sure that it was really clean and it wasn't going to have any issues with the paint bonding. Once I did 1 coat of spray paint all over it, I'm going to take a tan color and come back in, not white because I think white is a little too stark for it. It'll take away from the beautiful grayish brown color it has. And I'm just going to lightly dry brush all over with that grayish tint. Now I'm going to use my E6000. This is my little key that I had a subscriber send me, and I will link it down below because I get people asking about it all the time now. It works so great for the E6000 bottles. I went ahead and just squeezed out some E6000 and some hot glue, and I put my foam in against the sides of that box. Now remember, you could definitely DIY this particular item. It's so easy with large tongue depressor sticks and a couple of those crate boxes from the Dollar Tree. It's so easy to recreate this look. Now I'm coming in with some beautiful golden tones and ivory florals and leaves, and just really filling it in nicely. I don't want to go too high up because it'll cover up all that lattice work. And then I'm going to come in with this candle that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to remove the covering on it because I just want to get to the candle. And then I'm going to take a couple pieces of foam and I'm going to put them on the opposite sides of the spots because I want to make sure that the candle does not shift or slide around in there and it's nice and snug. So I went ahead and put those foam pieces in there, and now I'm going to come in with 2 peonies and I'm just going to pop those right into that foam on the front and the back, and that is going to complete this look, and it turned out even better than I thought. Friends, I say it all the time here, don't be afraid to go into a thrift store. A lot of friends are DIYing these from the Dollar Tree, and I picked this up from my thrift store and saved myself so much time by just giving it a facelift. If you are new to my channel and you enjoyed today's video, I hope it interests you enough to click that subscribe button down below in that corner. It's really easy to do. You will be receiving notifications every single time I post a video here on my channel. It costs nothing, it's absolutely free, and it's just a fun way to connect with another crafter here on YouTube. Now I'm going to take these beautiful copper lid glass jars that I found at the Dollar Tree. I was so giddy when I came across these because copper is my favorite metal. I love copper. I've always loved copper. Now I'm going to just use my heat gun to remove the stickers off the bottom. And then I'm going to take some Mod Podge and I'm going to just make sure that's in there nice and smooth. You don't want to have a clumpy, chunky, because after a while Mod Podge can have clumps get in it, so make sure it's all smooth. And then I'm going to take food coloring and a popsicle stick. Now be very, very conservative how much of this you put in, depending on how dark you want it to get. Food coloring goes a long way. I mean, I barely even tapped it and look at how much blue is already coming out. So just slowly work with it, because the food coloring is pigmented and it's very, very saturated in color. So just lightly keep adding to it until you get a color that you want, and then you're going to just brush it all over your glass. This is going to create the most beautiful sea glass look, where it's going to give me that beautiful blue color coming through on this detailed etched glasswork. I think that this has such a gorgeous French country farmhouse look when it's done, especially when you're pairing it with brown tones and ivories. It's just so pretty with that copper lid. I was on Instagram the other day visiting one of my friend's accounts, Home by Heidi. I was so inspired by a theme she did in the past for Thanksgiving in her own home. She did this beautiful blue color with natural brown tones with ivories and tans. It was so calming and beautiful for Thanksgiving that I just knew I wanted to do that look here in a video and make sure I give her a shout out. So I'll link her Instagram account down below, and she's actually getting ready to start a channel here on YouTube, which it is so exciting because she is so talented. To have her join us here on YouTube will be so thrilling. I hope you will be inspired by these colors and maybe give them a try. Now, this turkey was picked up at Home Goods, and I have been searching far and wide for a turkey because I wanted to make one over to have a concrete cement look. So I was looking for a turkey that had a lot of detail. I ended up paying $15 for this turkey, and I was totally fine with that because turkeys, usually even this size, are easily $40 at certain decor stores. So I took it outside and I gave it a spray paint coat, and after that I'm now going to come in with white paint, and we are going to brush in that white paint into all of those crevices, and then use a paper towel and we're going to wipe away the excess. So this is not a dry brush technique. This is an actual saturated paint brush where we are going to just use a paper towel and wipe away. The more paint on there, the better, because it's going to really get into those crevices. Now we're going to go the opposite with our paintbrush. Now we're going to get very, very light on there with the brown and do a dry brush. So you can see that I took the majority of the paint off, got a little bit on the head, and I'm drying it off on that paper towel and then coming in so I can hit those top parts to really bring out all the definition and make it look like a beautiful concrete statue. At the top, I was just stippling on by just tapping it with my paintbrush to really define the turkey's beak, and what a transformation. I'm so happy with it.
This next technique I'm about to use on my project is an old technique, but one of my dear friends here on YouTube, Sammy from Unicorn Dust Designs, actually has been featuring it quite a bit, and she sparked my memory of this technique. So this next project is going to be using tissue napkins that can be turned into the most beautiful thing. And this particular project is actually a look for less.
A couple weeks ago, I was in Michael's and I came across this beautiful vase. It's actually quite small in size. For the price, I think it was way overpriced. I shared that over on my Instagram account. I'll link that down below because I share a lot of shop with me's on my Instagram stories. If you're interested in my account, head down there to my description box and you will see the link to my Instagram so you can come on by and say hi. But I went to my thrift store and found two cute jars. Now, let me tell you, one of the jars had a bug in it. It was the weirdest thing ever. So when I was opening up the larger one, I was a little creeped out, hoping there wasn't a bug in that too. Because you just never know. I mean, for the most part, thrift store workers always clean things out and make sure, but it was the weirdest thing that there was a bug in the clear glass one. Anyway, I removed the tape and the stickers, and then I took it outside and I used my Smokey Beige tan color. This is my favorite tan color to spray paint with. It has the most beautiful finish on it, and the color is so neutral. It has a look between a very light brown with a hint of gray in it, which makes me so happy. Now I'm going to take these napkins that I picked up on Amazon. I will link them down below, and I'm going to cut them down to size. You can see that I removed one of the tissues, so I'm just getting to the one piece that has the pattern on it. I'm cutting it down to size, and with a nice coat of the Mod Podge, you're going to put that on, and then you're going to tap it. Do not drag your finger. As Sammy from Unicorn Dust Design says, if you drag your finger, it will rip it because it is so gentle. So just add on that Mod Podge, and then you're going to pull down that paper, and then you're going to tap it with your hand. Now, I remember my mom doing this particular technique back in the day. She had these clay pots that she turned into bells that were hanging by our front porch that had like a floral pattern out of a napkin. And when I saw Sammy doing this, I just thought, I need to do that technique. It would be so cool to get this ginger jar look for my fall Thanksgiving look that I'm doing here for this video. And I just love how it's turning out. Now I'm going to move on to the larger jar, and it's going to be the same process, a nice coat. Make sure you cut the paper down to the size that you want first, because that will make it much easier to work with. And if you have a jar like mine where it's whiter at the top, smaller at the bottom, tap it into place, and when you have a wrinkle where you can see that it needs to overlap, just gently add a little bit extra glue and overlap, and then tap it down into place, kind of creating a pleated effect on that tissue, and you won't even notice it once it's all dry. Then I went in with one more coat over the top with the Mod Podge, and when that was dry,
I'm now going to add on some paint on top to distress it and to bring down some of that really dark blue. I wanted to lighten it even more to give it more of that French country look. And I'm just wiping away any excess, because what we're really trying to do is just to get that color to lightly be over the top so the pattern is still coming through. Then I'm going to come in with my paintbrush, and this is kind of a medium amount of paint I've got on my brush. Not too heavy on the paint where I can wipe away a lot of the excess. We really want to just create a aged look on this pot. And now I'm going to come on the bottom with a brownish black color. I'm going to tap along the edge, and I'm also going to go onto the raw part of the clay that is on the bottom ring. That makes it look more aged over time. We're really going for a beautiful heirloom piece that you would see in somebody's high-end, beautiful looking home to get that look on a thrift store budget, which is always my favorite. Now we're going to repeat that same process up on the lid of this particular jar, and then once it's all done, friends, I am so happy with this look, and I hope you will give it a try.
I hope you felt inspired by today's video. Leave a comment down below to let me know which one you like, which one you think you will try, and if this color palette is something that you could see you bringing into your home for the fall season. I want to give a special thanks once again to everyone who joined that playlist. Don't forget, it's linked down below, and it's also pinned at the top of my comment. I'm also going to recommend a couple videos right here over to the side that might interest you if you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for stopping by, and until the next episode, bye friends.